When it comes to your prayer life, do you ever feel like the dog Doug from the movie Up, when every time you start to pray, it's like, squirrel, squirrel? Too soon, Caspian? Too soon? Hi, this is Kevin Senapatiratne from Christ Connection, and I'm here to give you 5 ways to deal with distraction in prayer. The devil doesn't want you to pray. As a matter of fact, one of my mentors used to say the greatest spiritual battle was from when you think about going to spend some time in prayer to when you actually get in there, because once you get in there, then he's lost. But once you get in there, I guess his next strategy is to try and get you out of there. So it's amazing how all of a sudden you get all sorts of ideas once you get into your prayer time. For example, your laundry. When you get into your prayer time, all of a sudden that laundry that has been sitting there all week long, not concerning you, becomes the most important thing in your life. And so you're like, oh, I need to leave to go do that laundry. But here's the trick. Let me show you. What I do when I go to my prayer time is I bring a notebook in. Why do I bring my notebook in? Because then I can write down all those ideas that I get, that I need to do, those things that seem so urgent at the moment. And then when I leave that time of prayer, not only have I spent some time in prayer, but I also have a to-do list to do. Sounds like a win-win to me. The next area of distraction is my own thoughts. All of a sudden, when I get into my prayer time, I go this way and that way with my thoughts, and they all become, I'm praying for something and I'm way over there. Now, there's a couple of things to think about with that. First of all, maybe whatever you're praying over here is really not what you're concerned about. So when you get over to that other and you realize I'm thinking about something way over here, maybe that's just an indication that that's really what you want to be praying about. So whatever this concern here that you started with is not the main concern. And so here's a distraction tool. Just pray about what you're actually thinking about. Whatever it is that's concerning you when you get out here, use that as an area of prayer. The next area of distraction is actually those personal distractions, those things that all of a sudden you get into the prayer time and you're super hungry. Now, there's 2 ways to deal with that. We'll just use hunger as the example. If you are the hungry type, you can either make it a challenge. Say, oh, now I'm not just praying, I'm praying and fasting. And then use that hunger saying, I want God more than I or it doesn't, the other way to do it, go get an apple, go get some, and go back to your prayer time. This means you don't get distracted, or maybe even bring an apple in with. Apple gets a bad rap, with all the talk about Eve and the apple, and it wasn't an apple. And so, maybe redeem the apple and bring an apple with you. The next area of distraction is people distractions. Now, I understand that some of you, maybe you're a mother of young children. Think about Susanna Wesley and anticipate people distractions. She was the mother of John and Charles Wesley, famous preachers, and she had a bunch of kids. And so she had the system, whenever she was going to prayer, she put an apron over her head as a reminder to all the children that now she was praying. What are those people things that you can just anticipate? You're going to have these people distractions. Maybe it's your phone is going to distract you because she'll put it on Do Not Disturb. Whatever it is, anticipate those, get ahead of those distractions, and then you won't be, so that, in Susanna Wesley's example, her kids knew now's not the time to bother mom. The 5th area of distraction that we're going to talk about is actually, again, with the thoughts that we go this way and that way. But maybe this time, think about the fact that maybe God wants to talk about a different topic than you do. Maybe all of a sudden a pain or a concern is grabbing a hold of your mind and you're like, okay, I don't want to talk about that. Maybe God does. And so just because you're distracted from your original topic of prayer and it comes to something that you don't originally think about, maybe God has a conversation He wants to have with you. And so, again, you're not leaving the time of prayer, you're just going on a different direction with the prayer time, and allow that direction to be the place that God can speak to you about whatever it is that He wants to talk to you about. All right, so here's a bonus little tip for you here. Maybe there is a distraction that comes that really needs to be dealt with. Maybe your house is on fire, you need to leave the house. Maybe you get a phone call, it's kind of an emergency that you need to deal with, down the street. Let me encourage you, if those types of emergencies, then all of a sudden just think, oh, I'm going to take God with me on that emergency. I'm going to take, because if it's a big enough emergency to stop your conversation with the God of the universe, which can happen, you still want to take God with you to whatever that emergency situation is. So you move from a prayer time to a prayer walk wherever he takes you on that journey. Allow that to be an alarm, that worry, that situation to be an alarm to take it to the Lord in prayer. Well, as you think about distraction in prayer, let me encourage you with two final things. First of all, subscribe so that you can get more ideas in the life of prayer. And this will also help other people who maybe are distracted on YouTube get to prayer in the first place, which leads to the second thing. Maybe share this with a friend so you can be a distraction to them, but in a good way to go into the presence of God. So share it with a friend and say, hey, maybe this will be a good distraction for you.